Well, we're going to talk about what many people think is the dreaded W-9 and 1099. Back when I started working as a contractor, October 1st, 1984, yes, I am a dinosaur, I got there on October 1st, 1984, and the tax year ended at 12/31. And in January, I was asked by my employer, not my employer, sorry, the person for whom I worked, not my employer because I was on 1099, to do all the 1099s for all the contractors. And I went, wow, 1099, what is that? Didn't know. So I called their accounting firm and said, okay, I've been asked to do this. What is it? And they said, well, it means everybody that you paid, that your client paid, that isn't an employee, needs to get a form called a 1099 to say what contract labor payments they earned during 1984. And I said, well, where would I get the information about these people and their address? And I'm assuming I have to give their social security number or something. And they said, well, they should have filled out a W-9. And I said, wow, I don't think I have any W-9s. I had only been working for 3 months. And I said, I'm going to have to check this out. So it turns out that most of the people that got contract labor payments in the year 1984 had not filled out a W-9. So I went around about the business of getting W-9s from all of these people. So this is an interesting thing. If you are a person who's going to pay somebody with a 1099, or if you are a person being paid by a 1099. So if you're the person paying a contract labor worker, you need to get a W-9. So what you need to do is you need to get the name that is on their tax return. This is crucial because the government will send everything back to you if they can't match it up. So this tax ID number down here where it says Social Security number, this needs to match the name in number 1. So you can't put Pollara Bookkeeping on 1 and be Robin Pollara with your Social Security number. Even though you see the two names there, Pollara Bookkeeping, Robin Pollara, not going to work. So this one needs to be Robin Pollara, and this Social Security number that they punch in needs to match that. Now, if you have an LLC or something, you put your name here. Crucial. You put your name and then your LLC number, right? And if you have a Schedule C business, which we're going to look at later, and you got an employer identification number for your LLC, that goes there. But remember, your W-9 has to have your name or the name that is on the tax return. So if you're a corporation, corporations don't normally get a 1099 unless you're a lawyer or a doctor. Yes, you're supposed to give doctors 1099s, believe it or not. Then the corporation name can be there, and that employer identification number needs to match that completely, perfectly, or it's going to be sent back. Then in 3, you mark what you are. If you're a C Corp, which is a very strict way of handling money, an S Corp, a partnership, which is an LLC with partners, by the way. So a limited liability company. So if you have an LLC that has 3 partners, it's a partnership. Then you go to a limited liability company. Are you a C Corp? Or how are you taxed? I used to be a limited liability company taxed as an S Corp, and now I'm an S Corp. So that took care of that. Or are you an individual? So let's say your name here is Robin Pollara, your Social Security number's here, and you file a Schedule C as an individual, sole proprietor, or a single member LLC. You'll say, what is a single member LLC? You are the only person in it. You open an LLC called ABC LLC. Who owns it? You at 100%. That means you're a single member LLC. All right. So perfect name, perfect business name, perfect identification. Make sure they match. Are you exempt from taxes? Almost all the time you are, yes. Then you put your name, address, exempt when I say from taxes, from the person who's paying you, having to pay taxes on your behalf. You're supposed to be doing that. That's a whole nother situation but where we pay estimated, and we'll go through that. So you've got this W-9 you've filled out, correct? And so and then you sign it at the bottom, and the date, and usually the person that is filling this out signs their name to the form. So this is pretty simple. Either you give it to someone, and when they give it back, you make sure it's correct, or when you fill it out, you make sure that it represents who you are and how you're being taxed correctly. And so the W-9 is not a very complicated form. If you get a W-9, if you fill out a W-9 and you get a 1099, that money does not go toward unemployment. I need to be clear with that. You will not be able to collect unemployment based on being a 1099 contractor. So you want to know up front why you're a 1099 contractor, why you're filling out the W-9, and you have to go very carefully through the criteria for being a contract labor person or an employee. So W-9, we're going to go to the next form, which is the 1099 you're going to receive. So W-9s, I think everybody would be clear. I can fill one out with you the next time if anybody has questions. So, and they have a lot of instruction. You can see that they have instruction all over the place. That doesn't make it easier to understand. What you're really trying to do with your W-9 is say who you are, how you're taxed, and what the name of your company or what your name on your tax return is as an individual. I think that's pretty clear.